Alright guys, so back to another video. In this video, I'm going to explain geometry equations to know. And these equations are useful. I don't know why I wrote useful, but they are pretty useful. And they will save you a little time if you come across questions of these types. So let's start with the first equation. Right, it's going to be the area of a square is equal to the diagonal squared over 2. Right, so if a question gives you the length of the diagonal in a square, you're gonna take 3 seconds to figure out the area, because once given the diagonal, you just plug it into this equation right here, diagonal squared over 2. So let's write area of a square is equal to diagonal squared over 2. So let's look at the first example. Alright, so we have this square right here, and the radius, the diagonal is equal to root 5. So what formula are we going to use? We're going to use diagonal squared over 2 to find the area. So that's going to be root 5 squared over 2, which can be simplified to the roots cancel out, roots and the square cancel out, giving you 5 over 2 as the area of your square. So boom, it's that easy, right? It takes 3 seconds. And you could find the area of a square without finding the length of each individual side and finding x squared. So, alright, let's move on to question 2. So, we're given this square with a diagonal of 7 root 2. They're asking us to find the area again. So, what formula are we going to use? Diagonal squared over 2. So, that'll be 7 root 2 squared over 2. This can be simplified to 7 squared times root 2 squared, right? You guys can move out the 7 and the root 2 over 2, which can be rewritten as 49 times 2 over 2, right? The root and the square canceled out. You guys got to know how to do that. And now 49 times 2 over 2. The 2's cancel out, giving you an area of 49 for the area of this triangle right here. Of this square. As you guys can see right here, another way to do it is if they give you 7 root 2, you guys can already put 7, 7, right? Because it's going to be a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So 7 times 7 is also 49. So you guys can double check on that, right? If you guys don't feel as if that's not correct. And now we're given example 3. So the area of, the diagonal, why do I keep saying something else besides for diagonal? But the diagonal of the square is 100. Asking for the area. So I'll let you guys do this question. This is relatively easy compared to the other questions. Well, the other questions were really easy too, but you guys can write your answers in the link, in the description below, in the comments below, and I'll see if you guys are correct, because this question is a 2nd grade question. But let's move on to the second equation. Alright, so the second equation is going to be used to find the area of an equilateral triangle given the side length. So this formula, I don't think it's provided on the SAT reference sheet, so you guys are going to have to memorize this equation yourself. This is going to be one of the most important equations to remember out of all 3 of these equations. So let me tell you how to get the area of an equilateral triangle. So given a side length, right, to find the area of an equilateral triangle, it's going to be s squared root 3 over 4. So I wrote this out in word form. So the area of an equilateral triangle is going to be the side cubed times root 3 over 4. So let's apply this to one of the questions. Alright, so question 1. If the length of the equilateral triangle is 4 root 2, what is the area of the triangle? So let's just plug in 4 root 2 squared. 4 root 2 squared root 3 over 4. This might look like a very complex equation, but it's really not. So what we're going to do is 4 root 2 squared is equal to what? It's equal to 16 times 2, which is equal to 32, root 3 over 4. 32 divided by 4 is equal to what? That's equal to 8 root 3. So boom. Using this equation, instead of finding everything, every base or height, you guys can just find the area, plug in the number 4 root 2. Your side length is 4 root 2. Plug it in for s squared 32 root 3 over 4. 32 divided by 4, 8 root 3. And boom, your answer is there. It took about 10 seconds, and all you guys need is 10 seconds to find the area of an equilateral triangle, given the side length. Alright, so let's look at question 2. So the area, right, the side length is 4 root 3, and they're asking us to find the area. So what equation are we going to use? We're going to use area of an equilateral triangle is equal to s squared root 3 over 4. So let me plug this in. So that's equal to 4 root 3 squared root 3 over 4. Right, 4 root 3 is the value of s, and I just plugged it in. S represents the side lengths, guys, so don't be confused. S is the side length of one side of the equilateral triangle. So if you simplify this, this will be equal to 16 times 3, which is 48. Yeah, 48 root 3 over 4. And this can be rewritten as what? 48 divided by 4 is 12. So that means our answer is going to be 12 root 3. Right? Most of your answers are going to have a root 3 in it. If not, then, you guys can simplify even further. But if it does have a root 3, then your answer might be correct. But just check your work if you guys think you're wrong. But this is the area of an equilateral triangle. S squared root 3 over 4. This is very important, guys. If you guys are watching this, remember this equation. Write it down somewhere and remember it for the future. Alright, so let's look at the third equation, geometric equation to know. So given a polygon, right, where all the sides are equal, the total sum of degrees in a polygon is equal to what? 180 times s minus 2, where s represents the number of sides in the polygon. So how do we apply this equation, right? So if you guys look right here at example 1, look at example 1 right here, right? So we have a triangle. How many degrees are in a triangle? 180, right? You guys all know that, right? Because given an equilateral triangle, it's 60 plus 60 plus 60, which is 180. But how do we get this? Well, how would you get the total sum of a polygon if you guys didn't know a triangle was 180? We would use this equation right here, right? So let me show you how it's done. So how many sides does a triangle have? 3. So we just plug it into here. 180 times 3 minus 2, because it's number of sides minus 2. And this can be simplified to 180 times 1, which is 180. So therefore, the sum of the degrees in a triangle are 180. You guys probably know that. And next we have this hexagon, right? There's 6 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what is the total number of degrees in a hexagon? Most people would not remember this, right? I don't think most people know how many degrees in a hexagon off the top of their heads. So write that in the comments below if you guys solve this. You guys just have to plug in 6 for the value of s, right? Because s represents the side lengths, and boom, you're going to have your answer in 5 seconds. So basically, yeah, so these are going to be the 3 main equations you guys are going to have to know for the SAT that are not given on the reference sheet. Like, these are the geometric equations to know. There are algebraic equations that you guys are going to have to know that I'm going to make a video on later. But right now, memorize these 3. They're going to be pretty important, especially this one right here. Area is equal to s squared root 3 over 4. Remember that. Alright, I'm going to make a summary of what I just explained. So the area of a square is equal to diameter squared over 2. Did I say diameter? I mean diagonal squared over 2. Right here. And the area of a equilateral triangle is equal to s squared side length squared root 3 over 4. Right? And lastly, the total sum of degrees in a polygon is equal to 180 times the number of sides minus 2. And boom. Memorize these 3 equations and you guys are good. Alright, peace out, guys.